today's program, I would like to invite Commissioner Robin Cramner up here to give an invocation.
Welcome, everyone. Will you pray with me, please? Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today, Lord, and we're so thankful for the people in this room, that they have come to learn more about the town that we get to live in. Lord, thank you for the blessings that you've bestowed upon Canyon. Thank you for the opportunities that are given in this city. And thank you for the people that live here and the culture that is established in this town. I don't think you can find it anywhere else, so thank you for that, Lord. Lord, I ask you to bless the food that's been prepared for us today, and you be with the people that are speaking today, that the words that they give is what is needed for the people to hear in this room. Go out and do what you need to do, Lord, for all of us in this community, and continue to bless us. In your name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. This event is really great for us because we are able to share with the community all of the hard work that we do for all of the taxpayers here and for all of the community that is in Canyon, as well as all of our businesses. I would like to start by thanking my commission for being here. I have Mayor Gary Hinders, I have Commissioner Robin Cramner, Commissioner Danny Potter, and I am very thankful for their leadership, as well as Commissioner Paul Lyons and Commissioner Cody Jones, who are not able to be here with us today. I'm very thankful for all that they do for the city. I would like to thank our former commissioners for being here. I saw Quinn and I saw Kelsey. Thank y'all both for being here and continuing to support the city of Canyon. Everyone who is an elected official, in case I didn't see you, thank you all so much for being here and continuing to provide leadership to our community. Thank you to Dr. Flushy and Dr. Windler for both being here as part of our education and how that impacts our K-12 and our college and beyond students every day, as well as anyone in our board and commissions who are part of the decision-making that we all do. Thank you. Also, I will say shout out to my staff who are all here. All of our City of Canyon staff work so hard every single day for all of the community. I'd like to thank the Canyon Economic Development Corps and Canyon Main Street for being our presenting sponsors for today. Can I give them a round of applause? As well as Republic Services, and we have Matthew Peterson here to say a few quick words about the partnership with Republic.
Thank you, Megan. On behalf of Public Services, I'm very pleased to be here today. My name is Matthew Peterson, Municipal Service Manager. In the past year, we've experienced some significant challenges partnering with the city of Canyon to overcome challenges that have impacted the city and our citizens through unprecedented winter, spring, and summer storm events that have caused much damage across the region. Our teams in the Amarillo Hauling Division and Canyon Southwest Landfill were able to jump into quick action to aid the city in setting up citizen collection centers, as well as issuing equipment and horsepower with labor to aid city in cleanup and continue to push forward as the days wore through those events. And I just want to continue to thank the city for allowing us to be here and be a partner with the community and all the organizations that we participate in, and once again being a sponsor of this event. Thank you.
I would also like to thank our other sponsors, Hilltop Securities and Kimley Horn. Kimley Horn is doing our master drainage plan, and so they are up there, and we're looking for community input for that, so definitely be sure and see them after today. We also will have our Safe Streets for All plan looking for community input as well. I hope you all enjoyed lunch. That was provided by Mickey's Place. They do such a great job for us, as well as Canyon ISD. Thank you so much for providing this space and letting us be here today, as well as to the CISD culinary students who provided today's dessert. and HTO generously sponsored all of our tea. So can I get a thank you for all of our sponsors? Well, we have a lot going on, and we're ready to get started. I highly encourage you to scan that QR code that is on your program. That does have some links based on everything that we're talking through here today. So without further ado, let's get this party started, friends.
Welcome to Downtown Canyon, where small town charm meets big town fun. Canyon Main Street is the heart of our community, a vibrant hub filled with unique shops, delicious dining, and unforgettable experiences. Whether you're hunting for the perfect gift, craving a local vibe, or just looking to enjoy a stroll through our historic streets, there's something here for everyone. From cozy coffee spots and family-owned boutiques to live events and friendly faces, Downtown Canyon is where memories are made. So come shop, dine, and enjoy all that Canyon Main Street has to offer. We can't wait to welcome you to Canyon.
Welcome, everybody. It's good to see a full room. It's kind of loud. Try to move that. My name's Michael Kitten, and I'm lucky enough to have joined the Canyon EDC team back in June. And really excited about what's happened in the past, but even more excited about what we're looking forward to in the future. Part of that is the video that you just watched with Audrey Miller and the Main Street program. Although they have a separate funding mechanism, they do office out of the EDC office. And I think the QR code that you have at your table will get you more information if you're interested in what happens with that. I can tell you that their main goal is to revitalize and beautify downtown through historic preservation and promotion. I know Audrey's doing a great job with that. So let's look at a few numbers. The Canyon EDC was formed in 2004, so over the last 21 years, you can see that over $10 million have been invested back in the community, which also helps the number on the right. You can see just under $5 million in sales tax revenue, which is a result of that business development, of course, tourism, and wanted to mention something that you may or may not know. About 4 years ago, maybe 5, there was a ruling called the Wayfair ruling that when you made an internet purchase before then, the sales tax dollars did not stay in the community where the purchase was made. Those dollars went to where either the corporate headquarters of the company you were buying from was, or where it was manufactured. So the Wayfair ruling has allowed a portion of that sales tax now to stay at point of purchase. So that has also helped that number increase, and it is almost doubled in the last 10 years. You can see population growth in the decade from 2010 to 2020. 11%, that's pretty large. But then the number next to it, with 29 active listings on homes, you would hope that number might be a little bit larger, and you're going to hear some more about that later on some homes being built over the next 10 to 20 years here in town. I want to talk about a couple of offerings that the EDC funds for our local businesses, especially those that are currently operating and may need a little help or a little direction. We have Action Coach with Rory. He does, and I think some of you in this room have attended it, coffee and conversation that happens 6 to 8 times a year. It's a good time to network with your colleagues in town, to get some directions, some topics of the day, topics of the time. He's good with 90-day outlooks, some strategic planning. Also ties into the next item, Growth Club. That's done quarterly, and that's more like a pen to paper. You'll actually walk out of there with something tangible, maybe a 90-day calendar, something that you can kind of form the next 90 days of your business and marketing with. Leading Edge is, we have a gentleman by the name of Spencer Spencer that he is here. In fact, he's here tomorrow. He's here on the third Friday of every month. His appointments now are filling up every time he's here, which is good news. And probably more, his focus is more on money and accounting. So he can help you with business models, pro formas. If you're looking at buying that piece of equipment that you've been putting off for 5 years, he might can help you make that decision on whether that's smart or not. But all of these programs are to help our current businesses, and it's all funded by the EDC, so it's at no cost to you. These are a few of our projects that weren't open last year at this time, but are now operating. Now, Big Tex Burrito on the right, they plan to open next month, and this shows the incentive dollars from the EDC for these businesses. That's always a combination of everything from equipment purchase to helping them get the doors open when they get their certificate of occupancy. Some of it is tied to longevity. There may be some monies that are available after a year in business, 2 years in business. Most things go to a maximum of 3 years. But one of the bigger ties we do is job creation. So we have dollars tied to gross payroll that's produced every year. A few of the bigger projects that are also operating now that weren't last year. Now, Creek House has been in business for a few years. You can see the incentive dollars from the EDC there, and it's good to see an ROI on those investments for everybody, and the community, and for tourism. But these three companies are employing somewhere around 185 people and producing over $5.5 million in payroll annually. So that's a good ROI on the EDC dollars invested. Finally, I want to talk about another program that we have, a small business assistance program. So the commission allows an allotted amount of money annually to our board, to the EDC board, to help businesses. You can see some of them that have been helped in the past there. And it's a last money in type of grant, so it's 50-50 match up to $10,000. And those monies have to be expended before the match is made. But I'll tell you some of the things that qualify for that. It's real property improvements, building materials, facade, signage, safety and compliance, landscaping, parking, some direct financial assistance, and then something that a lot of people don't think about, especially if you're going to borrow money and you're dealing with a lender, is you may have to do an asbestos survey, and that carries kind of a big price tag. So that's also one of the qualifying events for this program. So we hope, all in all, with what statute allows for incentivization, for job creation and capital investment, for the programs that the EDC is able to fund to help businesses with pro formas, strategic planning, business models. We hope that there's a fit for all of you, and anybody that's maybe on the fence on making decisions in their business on moving forward, expanding, buying equipment. We may be able to help you. So please call our office. We can get you set up with appointments with Spencer. We can get you hooked up with Rory, and we can just also talk about your business in general. We're there every day, so please contact us. I'm excited to be here. Thank you all for being here, and it is my great pleasure now to introduce Canyon's Mayor of 8 years, Gary Henderson.
Thank you, Michael. Really excited about Michael's experience that he brings. Amarillo, Hereford, EDC, a lot of experience bringing to the table, and really excited what doing for both bringing new business to town, but also our existing businesses. We invest a lot in new businesses coming to town. It's wonderful to go in and make a difference from financial counseling that we can do and for existing businesses as well. So, thank you. Thank you all for being here today. What a wonderful community we have here in Canyon, Texas. And I tell you what, I look around the room and see so many people that give so much back to this community and make such a difference and makes Canyon truly what we are, is the folks in this community who work and serve and give back. So thank you all. My wonderful wife Linda is here today, and our first WT Homecoming, October 4th, 1980. And we sat this right over here in this stadium. And I wanted to give a shout out today to Dr. Wendler. He set homecoming this year for October 4th, 45 years after that day. So we're going to have a special day that day. So thank you. And again, I want to thank those the sponsors and then also city staff that worked so hard to do this, as well as the ISD providing this. So thank you all much. So, all right, the big thing happening in Canyon, Texas these days, our public safety bond. This time last year, this was an idea, a vision, planning, and then planning for an election. In May, we had voter approval and really appreciate the confidence of the voters. Really believe this is the right direction for Canyon, Texas. It is. It's a sacrifice on the part of taxpayers, but there's multiple pieces to that too. And we talked earlier about how we think this can also not just provide enhanced protection for us, but also help us on our insurance costs as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Different pieces of the bond election. So, we purchased the Gold Star Trust building for right at $3 million to go in and redo that and make that a police station. We've got $4.9 million allocated for that. And there is a piece of that that also will go for a new animal control center. And I also want to thank Sharon and Jim Bob Brown. They donated the land for that. So, the biggest part, $8.85 million, is for the fire department. There's a lot of pieces to this. Our main station, we're moving to more full-time staffing, 24/7 staffing. To do that, we've got to have living quarters, dorm, and also we're not even close up to standards anymore as far as protecting firefighters from carcinogens, all the smoke. And so separation and a lot of structure there at the fire department itself. And then across the street, we've got the annex. We're going to add on to that. There's a piece too. Expect firefighters to be in shape and be able to get done whenever they're providing their service. And so there's going to be workout facilities along with that as well. And then, we've got the Paul Lindsay training facility out on the west side of town. We are building a new steel building out there. It will have 3 bays that will take care of a lot of our grass fire trucks. And then there's also going to be a training facility out there. So there'll be a training room, and then there's going to be a cinder block practice firehouse. And those are some things that I think this time last year we talked about. Our ISO rating for our insurance has dropped from a 2 to 3 to almost a 4 for a while. We're determined to get it back up to a 2. That means we're providing safer service, but it also means that when it comes to insurance costs, those are taken into factor too. So anyway, the last piece, the fire piece, is we're getting a new fire truck for $1 million. Our current fire truck is 25 years old. So it's time to put it in as our second truck, and we'll have a new one on the line. And then lastly, we've got $250,000. Part of the moves, so our fire administration are going to move to where our code and planning is right now. Code and planning will move to where the police station is. So, one thing I want to throw out too, we've got a lot of our firefighters here today, and I wanted to throw out a big thanks to all you guys do, full-time and volunteer. They do so much for the city of Canyon, and they're here serving us today too. So, thank you guys. Timeline. So we've had our election, middle of summer. We issued the bonds; those are in place. So at this point, we're working to hire a construction manager at risk, and really feel good about the team that's going to go in and take care of this project. We've got our assistant city manager, John Burns. John has experience building buildings at WT, some dorm buildings, so he's already got that under his belt. And then I'm really proud to say we have hired as a consultant Mike Ortiz. And Mike has extensive experience, has a consulting business that he's worked with districts throughout the Panhandle. I think probably a lot of you all know he's built our new high school. And then one I really like, he built the admin building over here. And the story is that the dollars came back and they were just way too high, and what was coming from architects and engineers. And Mike just said that can't be. And you know what? He got it done for a whole lot less. So expecting good things from that crew. So, I mean that with my own heart. So. All right. Then the last, we've got a time frame to spend that money. We're looking at everything being completed by 2030. All right. Along with facilities, it's really the people that matter. And so we have really priorities of our city commission right now for public safety. And so we're looking to increase our fire staff full-time from 12 to 18. This is an overtime deal, but as Canyon's grown and as we're working to provide 24/7 staffing, that's a key part. We are also working in our police department, and we started that in this year's budget, that our goal is to work towards the step pay program will be at 80% of the pay for Amarillo. We think we really need to get there. That's a big priority for us within the city. So, next one I'm really excited about, and Dr. Flushy, it's a partnership with CISD, but the city of Canyon pays a part of the police officer salary. We have 2 new police officers that in schools this year. That puts a Canyon police officer on campus in every single school in Canyon, Texas. So really feel good about that. With our police, we will have another animal control staff. And then our chief, Chief Gwynn, does a tremendous job working with our fire crew. We're a combination department, so we've got full-time firefighters, and we still got volunteer firefighters. And so our goal is to maintain 30 volunteers. We have 23 at this point, but they're still a vital part of what we do, and even our goals into the future and all as well. So. Okay, this slide I think is really an interesting one. If you look at tax rates, really cities our size, Panhandle of Texas, there's more factors go in with that, but really a key, and I've been on city commission for 22 years now, and I've recognized for a long time just the value of the volunteer firemen from a dollars and cents standpoint too, not just what they provide from a safety standpoint, but they are key there. And if you look at where we sit in the middle of these other cities, so Plainview, Pampa, Border, all have 100% paid full-time firefighting forces. Canyon and Dumas, we're both a combination, so we're right in the middle. And then you can see Hereford over on the side, they are still all volunteer. I think there's some other factors go into that tax rate too, but anyway, really appreciate a lot of confidence on the voters' part. Our new tax rate is 0.511, and I think these are dividends will be paid from this investment in the future. So again, those kind of decisions are not easy decisions, but the voters spoke, and so I think we're moving where we need to go in the future for public safety. All right, some other fun things, exciting for Canyon, downtown projects. And on this one, you know what, if you look down that list, I have to throw out kudos to our city manager, Joe Price, bringing grants. I mean, we talked about it last year too, but grants coming to the table to pay for a lot of these projects that make a difference in Canyon, Texas. So the first one here on the list, the 15th Street reconstruction, it's $5.5 million. So that's entryway into Canyon. And so the biggest part of those are going to be paid by other funds from state and TxDOT. And the first part in 2027, if you look, that will be the part north of the railroad tracks. And so the total project, by the time it finishes up, will also be on the south side. There will even be some concrete, some sand bricks, look like bricks. But the part I'm maybe really excited about, see the sidewalks and really kind of a pedestrian bridge to make that a whole lot safer. I know Linda and I have walked into town to the farmer's market, and if you're crossing the road tracks right now, it's pretty sketchy. You feel like you're taking your life in your own hands here a little bit. So I think this is a great project. I'm really excited about it. So is a focus. We've got a downtown master plan. It's an overtime deal, but it's a piece-by-piece thing. And this next one, this CDBG alleyway project, if you've noticed on the east side of the square, there's a lot of things happening. It's still kind of a mess right now, but taking out lines, moving utilities, there's going to be concrete in there. If you know how good the south side of the square looks, we're working to move towards that on the other side too, but the east side is fixing to get there. So, one last thing I want to say, and I think maybe Megan said something about it, but our Safe Streets for All, we're really taking input right now too. Back again, sidewalks, what we need to do to make Canyon a safer place. So look for that, and if you can, reach out if you think there's a place, and we've received several that need to try to make a difference. So, all right, some of our celebrations. We received a statewide TML award for the Kylie Heiner Memorial Playground. And I know I saw Brian Knoll here somewhere earlier. Kudos to Brian. I mean, this was really his project, his vision. He even worked with Ambucks to really try to drive it and get it done. But Ambucks, Lions Club, community donations, this was a community deal. So really proud that we're recognized for that. So the next one is a planning award. And with all that's going on in Canyon, Texas, we've got the comprehensive plan, we've got a strategic plan, but really we've had a planner, and really Lucas Raley was the one that brought a lot of things to the table, and so we're proud of this, that we're really, I think Joe said, about the only community other than Amarillo that has that and able to plan for the future that way. So, the next one is another one that really grateful to Representative Smithy and Senator Sparks. One you wouldn't think about in a way, you'd think is just natural, but as Canyon's grown and we move the city limits out, well, our alcohol laws don't go with that. So, like when the lumberyard came in, well, they don't get to serve alcohol unless they have a private club and this and that. So, bottom line, really made it hard to try to recruit restaurants to our new areas and say, we'd love to have you come down, but John Smithy really went to bat, and Senator Sparks as well, but I think Representative Smithy led the force on this, and now we're able to go to restaurants and say, you're like the rest of the city. So to me, it made sense. The whole state ought to be that way, but it's not. They've done it to where it's really for Canyon, Texas. So, lastly, we are now designated a film-friendly city, and kudos to Megan Nelson, really working to make that happen. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to our dynamic city manager, Joe Price.
I paid him to say that. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. I do want to give a big shout out to Republic. We've gone through a lot of disasters this last 24 months. Chief Glenn will be our last speaker to talk about that, talk about what we went through. But I know Chris Enriquez and that's his staff and us. I know we've called Republic in the middle of the night to get dumpsters out, especially when we had the tornado that hit Madison Park. Without that partnership and the communication, it wouldn't have been as seamless, as well as our community effort. Those guys have gone to bat at all hours of the night to help us, especially in our greatest time of need. So thank you guys at Republic. Thank you. I'm excited to talk about our housing program. This program was in our comprehensive plan. It's taken quite a few years to get there. And ultimately what this does is try to help rehab low-income housing in town. There's a lot of tangibles where you have to be qualified to have this program. The max is about $25,000. We are going to work with several of our private partnerships with our businesses here in town. It's taken a little bit longer than I was hoping to get our 501c3 status. And so part of that, we had to get that tax status in order for these businesses that were being so generous. And I've got several people that have already pledged to receive that tax deduction. And so that was important. And so we're working towards that. We've got 2 potential projects right now. We expect a lot of these to be seniors that are on fixed incomes. Super excited. These projects are as bottom out as we can. We're going to work with several contractors that are registered with our community. And we're working with our building team. So Craig and his team over in planning development. Permits will be zeroed out, and this is a real true community effort to try to rehab some of these homes in town. I'm excited to say I want to give a strong welcome to our development community that's doing a lot of work. Jeff and Davey Hamilton back there, Robbie, Christie, and Tommy Stafford, you guys, and Colby building Big Techs. It better be open in October, just saying. These guys have spent a lot of hours with us to make what you see on the screen a reality. It really is a partnership. We meet regularly. We talk every week about development and trying to progress forward. As it was mentioned by Michael, we 29 housing on the current MLS. That's almost insane to me that we have that few of houses. But thanks to these guys to try to make more housing available. We're still in a historic growth phase. I still continue to hear, the number one reason when I talk to people, I may not figure out where they're coming, but I know why they're coming. They're coming because we have an amazing school district. We have some of the best teachers in the state of Texas, and that's because we have such great leaders like Robin Cramner, Darryl Lucy, Cameron, and all the principals out there. I know several of you are in this room. Our teachers are best to none in this state of Texas. Best to none. We have worked a lot with Jeff and Davey to get Phantom Creek up. That's one of our newest ones. They are also going to move forward on urbanizing some of their houses in their current development, Spring Canyon. We were able to work with both of those developments to make this a true reality. It has been a really, really good effort. There's been a really good relationship with those guys. Most comprehensive development agreement that I think I've done to date. I think that agreement had 15 different agreements in there. And so it was very complicated with working with our attorney, their attorney, to get it done, but it went really well. Those guys are really thinking on what type of housing, what to bring to town, and what will be great. Kudos to them and all that. We're super excited. Part of that, I will talk about in the CIP. We have to build a lift station to make that available. Also have Robbie, Christie, and Tommy at NMB Homes, a big partner here in town. Houses are on their way up, Tommy. We're excited to see some houses going up. Robbie and Tommy have been great partners to work with. Those guys worked with the city to make some of the things a reality in Spring Canyon and Phantom Creek in order to make it all work together. They have gone above and beyond to do that. Thank you guys for all that you've done and what you continue to do in our community and your generosity. These are just some of our new businesses in town, and so I just wanted to throw some of them up if you haven't seen. If you haven't been around town much lately, there's some that we have going on. We're almost done with the golf course, so we're almost there. We're super excited. We have probably the most played public golf course in the region, probably even in the Lubbock region. Casey and his team do a lot of rounds. Golf pros tell me that they're not lazy. I know Casey's working out Saturdays, Sundays, it doesn't matter what day. Those guys get it done. We went to the commission and said, hey, we're at a breaking point. We really need to do this irrigation system. And so this commission said, okay, we want to do it. We'll just do it through our fees on the golf course. We were able to make that happen. One of the challenges we had was trying to get enough water on the grass. Our system could not pull enough water from our water supply to get enough on the ground. So we had to build some tanks on the course to be able to pour more water around in an 8-hour window. And so that's what was so vital about building some of these tanks here, is that we were able to put more water down in an 8-hour, as John Hahn would say, water window, to make that course look even better. So we're super excited about that. I haven't been at the golf course in a while. I hope you guys are getting out there a lot more than I am, but none of this is tax-based, so there's no taxes on that. I challenged Brian Knoll and Craig and Colin to take on some new restrooms. Those guys will be working general contractor to build our front 9 restrooms at the golf course finally, and we will also rebuild the restrooms at Hunsley. Hunsley took some severe damage to the windstorm and all these events. It's pretty much totaled. It was actually a service project way when. We're hoping to model the same bathrooms that we have at Kylie Tyner. So we're going to take those schematics and just go build it at Hunsley. So if you live in the Hunsley neighborhood, I hope you're excited for that. We'll get that going as soon as possible. That is already underway and blessed. And then we're happy, Gary, we can move the porta potties that you see on the way into town on the golf course. They can go away eventually when we get this up. I've heard that comment probably 20 times. I mentioned some of the development, and I'll talk about those on some of this list, but one of the biggest things on the streets is in Safe Routes for All. We really talked about accessibility and sidewalks. And so, as Gary mentioned, some of the federal funding that we have been able to get lucky with, I'm just going to say we've been very lucky and fortunate. We sat down probably over a year ago with our CISD administration, and the city staff's like, okay, we're going to look at sidewalks. We need to look at our schools first. We need walkability to our schools for our school children. And so we showed those projects of what we were thinking to CISD administration. And so we said, okay, the biggest low-hanging fruit is going to be intermediate to junior high. That project will be built this next summer. We're optimistic that that'll get done with another sidewalk project. We've been hearing that TxDOT's going to try to build a sidewalk from the lumberyard to the Justice Center right there on Russell Lawn. And so it's going to be a challenging project, just to say the least. We're hoping those projects will go hand in hand together. Our project's $1 million. That project's like $2.5 million. I have to cut into that, but we're super excited to be able to have that functionality and for people to be able to walk. And so we will look at the school zones. The school zone will be extended from one school to the other during this process. And so we're super excited on that project. We mentioned earlier Master Drainage Plan. That's a grant we received from FEMA. It's a 90% grant, 10% match from us. Can't ask for anything better than that. We're trying to look at our problem areas in drainage. So if you get a chance, please let us know. We're trying to look all over town. We're learning stuff as we go. There's some areas that we didn't even recognize that were an issue. We will continue to move forward on that, but we're really moving steering, and we're thankful for Kinley Horn and their effort on that. Super excited. Force main replacement. This is our last mile out to the wastewater farm down Hicks Road in that area. Monty is building that right there. We're getting close to that. That is the last of our ARPA funds that we got from the feds, our COVID money. Super excited. That affects and benefits the whole city. The lift station. This is what I mentioned earlier. We're working with Jeff and Davey Hamilton and those guys to build a lift station right by Spring Draw. And so this will be in the almost smack dab middle of Spring Canyon development. This will help serve Spring Canyon development, so that we're no longer on septics in certain areas. And then also to be able to bring Phantom Creek, their new development, online and have that wastewater sent over to that lift station. Opens up a lot of capabilities. A great partnership with us and Jeff and Davey on that. So super excited. That project's been awarded to Scott Wampler. Haven't quite started yet. But things are getting to mobilize. Super excited about it. If you've seen, there's a little bit of road construction between Canyon and Amarillo. I'm not sure if y'all saw that, those that came from Amarillo or those that have just driven around. Part of that, we were forced to move our main water line. So you see our water towers right there at the junction. We have a big line that goes under there, and so it is in conflict with the drainage structure that's going in. If you've seen them putting the drainage in. We're getting close on that. Scott Wampler is also doing that project for us. That is reimbursed. We're also going to go ahead and do a redundant line. That's where we get the water from Amarillo. And So it's a significant line. Unfortunately, it had to be a part of that. 4th Street Pump Station, literally, we just left the pre-bid meeting to come to this on that. If you've been on the west side of town, we have an actual in-ground ground storage tank over there. It probably needed to be replaced long ago. We're finally getting to replace it. We're going to build another ground storage tank, a million gallons over there. So that's part of our recent COs. Dennis did his grass truck 2.5 years ago. One day we'll see it, Dennis. Also another grant, Forest Service, correct? Forest Service grant. So $120,000, the rest of us is on us. Myra Utility Extension, Myra Park, as I mentioned, that's the new NNB subdivision. We cost shared with the developer to get the water and sewer line from Madison Park up north and worked with Robbie and Tommy on that. Great partnership. That's all in and all done. And our last one on this list is, resiliency has been huge, especially with all the disasters we have. One story that you may not know, we had at least a week's notice from Excel. So Excel, thank you for giving the notice. Dylan, I saw you somewhere earlier. They gave us a notice on this massive windstorm coming to town. We are on the very edge of that power substation. We lost power. Thankfully, Eric, Chris, Tanner, those teams in the water department, they were able to get a big enough generator to run that pump station. Had we not done that, we lost every well but 3 or 4 in that event. So we've got around 35 wells. We lost everything but 3 or 4. Had we not had enough foresight, working with our partner Excel, we would have lost water in town because of the power lines down. Y'all remember they shut off everybody in the rural county. A lot of people got shut off during that time. We weren't going to be shut off, but it wasn't sustainable because poles kept going down. Thank you, trampolines. But thanks to Excel and that partnership, we're trying to get this grant up and running. It's a big critical infrastructure for us. FEMA has a lot of overhaul right now, if you've not seen, so it's very slow going. Speaking of disasters, here's Fire Chief Dennis Gwynn.
And all your staff for what you do for the city of Canyon. I know the fire department really enjoys the working relationship we have together, and so keep doing what you do. So in nearly 40 years of emergency response on my part, and that's all within Randall County and city of Canyon, I've never seen a major weather events happen like they have here in 2025. Starting off with the dust storm back in March, which created a very large pileup out on I-27. We were the initial emergency response out there, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, about 40 vehicles were involved out there, varying damages on the vehicles or degrees of damage. We had minor dents up to several entrapments in one vehicle with major damage on it. That crew was out there for nearly 4 hours. Performing car-to-car searches, performing extrications in near-zero conditions, and choking down the dust. So shout out to them, along with Randall County Fire, who came down to help us, and Emerald Fire as well. I think we had patients from very minor injuries to very critical patients that were brought out there. So BSA EMS is our transport agency here, and they did a phenomenal job on that day as well. Along with that dust storm, we did have several volunteers come in to assist with staffing that day, so our staffing levels were boosted. We called back in all of our off-duty career staff to come into work. While that extrication and everything was going on at that wreck, we actually had a commercial structure fire here in town on that windy day. And due to the staffing, crews got in there, they quick knockdown on it, and very successful there. So shout out to the career staff and the volunteers for what they did. So we had more, and then just back in June, our major hailstorm. Did not know it was coming in personally. I woke up to bedroom windows being shattered, and my wife was we're in bed, woke us up. She said, "What do we do?" I said, "Cover up, stay in bed." So, was not any emergency response along with that hailstorm, but there was another critical major weather event here, and all three of these events here resulted in Mayor Henders issuing disaster declarations for the city of Kansas. I do not remember three major weather events in all those years I've been doing this. So back to Madison Park, April 25th, 11:35, actually 11:32, I'm sorry, tornado touchdown. We were in the process of getting out to monitor a storm coming in for Hereford that had been tornado warned. That was our concentration. Madison Park wasn't even, no pun intended, on the radar about having anything happening up there. So Captain Root, he was headed out towards Umbarter, watched that come in. I was in my pickup at my house trying to get my iPad fired up, and both of my phones just started blowing up. I had Joe Price call me. I had our emergency management director calling me, and I found out tornado warning issued. And about that time, all the alerts started going out, and so we made a response. Actually, Lieutenant Garton, he lives in the neighborhood just right near ground zero. He couldn't get a hold of me. He called Assistant Chief Whitfield and said, "Hey, I think a tornado just came through the neighborhood." But sure enough, the next day, Weather Service came out and did, in fact, determine it was a tornado, EF1, maximum winds of 110 miles an hour, debris or destruction path of 100 yards. So we actually had a response going on early due to Lieutenant Garton calling Chief Whitfield, and finally, I believe Chief Whitfield got through to me on my phone, and he was already headed that way, so we had a fire department response early on that deal. I arrived on scene. Of course, I had to go pick up City Manager Joe Price. The city manager calls you and says, "Hey, pick me up." What do? You go pick me up. Luke Baker, over here, he was the first one to get to the station as I pulled up. He became my driver and aide. He was so disappointed. He didn't get on all the action, but he greatly assisted at the instant command post. So once I get on the scene, we initially set up at Lieutenant Garton's house. And, you know, we're firefighters, we're first responders. We get an address, we go to the address. Well, the amount of traffic congestion, automobiles, and foot traffic, I knew this wasn't going to work out real good. Somehow I met up with Chief Brush pretty quick on arriving and said, "Hey, Steve, we got to do something. We've got to move out of this neighborhood." So we set up our command post off of 2590 there in Tatum Schultz Drive. I believe it's Lawyer's Title building. Had a big parking lot. That's where we can get everybody together up and start getting some assignments and start coordinating this. So we got all that done. Chief Brush did a phenomenal job. Him along with Captain Coggins and all the other law enforcement agencies that were there. I really don't know how he corralled that many off-duty law enforcement people that just came in to help, but he did. So a phenomenal job of locking down in that neighborhood. Fire came in, staged up, and assignments were made by streets. Within just under 1 hour, the crews had cleared every residence in that neighborhood. And big thing, no injuries, no death. We continued operating out of that building until about 3 o'clock in the morning, where we moved the incident command post to the PD's muster room in their new building, Gold Star, which that building, thanks to the voter-approved bond, will contain an EOC in the basement of that. So we'll have a specific place we can operate out of for major incidents. Continued monitoring storms throughout the night from 3 o'clock, I think. Well, I was there till 8 o'clock the next morning. Had incoming storms from Nazareth coming in, tornado warning as well. Luckily, those started dissipating down around just west of Happy. Next morning, all gathered up 8 o'clock, made assignments for all the other people starting that recovery effort, and went from there. calls for service. We'll go back a few years, there are a couple of years, back to 2023 on the fire department. We ran 1,705 calls that year. Moving forward 1 year to 24, 1,773 calls. Currently, this year, as of Monday morning, we have run 1,329 calls, averaging 5.15 calls per day. If you go in and look at that daily average and it holds out, and we've been averaging just over 5 calls a day even throughout the summertime, that's going to put us about 1,880 calls for this year. So you can see the increase that we're having in calls. Increasing calls equals I need more people. And similar on the police department side, back in 23, 5,570 calls for service. 24, 5,881 calls for service. And so far this year, 4,024, and they're averaging 15.6 calls per day. Go into a little bit of staffing for your emergency service providers here. 2022, we had 3 full-time firefighters, career firefighters. When I'm talking about firefighters here, in addition to the firefighters, they're the actual boots on the ground, the guys that go out and get the work done. I have Captain Roots, operations officer, Assistant Chief Whitfield, and myself. We're not included in the firefighters. Currently, here, as of this year, we're up to 12 full-time firefighters, which will allow us to start 24-hour staffing in December of this year. We currently have a federal staffing grant applied for. If we're successful with that, that'll give us 3 more full-time firefighters, and we'll begin full-time staffing, 24-hour staffing, with 15 or 5 on each shift. 18 full-time firefighters is the goal for the current fire station that we have. That will give us 6 on each shift, give a little bit of relief, not so much callback when somebody's on vacation. So we're looking forward to that day of 18 full-time firefighters. Over on our police department side, 32 full-time positions in 2022. They're up to 35 currently. They have 7 full-time school resource officers, and they will have 2 full-time animal control staff in 2025. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Megan so she can wrap this up for us.
Well, everyone, I want to say thank you so much again for coming and joining us for our second State of the City event. It is so important to have everyone in the community here because what we do at the city is really for all of you. It is for our community, it is for our residents, our businesses, and all of our local partners. With that, please come and give us your opinions when it comes to our master drainage plan or Safe Streets for All plan, and I wish